My name is Alice Ndong. I'm a nutrition and dietetic consultant, and I specialize in obesity and weight management. So I'm going to be talking to you about obesity and weight management. What do you need to do? What causes obesity? What are the dangers of being obese? And what can you do to lose weight? So we'll go through your diet, your exercise, and everything you need to do to help you manage your weight and also enjoy your life. Being overweight is just adding just a little bit extra weight, not necessarily excess fat. But being obese means you have more fat, you have a higher body fat percentage. And how do we know if somebody is obese or not? We just need to take your weight and we need to take your height. So for example, let's take somebody who's 80 kilos and then their height is 1.6 meters or 160 centimeters. So what you do, you divide 80 centimeters by 1.6 squared. Meaning 80 divided by 1.6 times 1.6. So what you get is your body mass index, and that is 31. That shows you that you're in the obese category. Also obesity in relation to your waist circumference. So what happens, you need to take a tape measure that's not elastic and put it around your waist parallel to your navel, your belly button. So if you take that measurement, women should have a waist circumference of less than 88 centimeters, and men should have a waist circumference of less than 102. Meaning 102 is the highest, and 88 for women is the highest. So when you get it past 88 centimeters, it means you must lose weight. Because when the fat is around the stomach, and this is how fat looks like, okay? It means that you have a lot of fat around your stomach, and that is actually more dangerous. Because if, for example, if men have a very big pot belly, definitely we can even just look and diagnose them with high blood pressure. Everybody can lose weight, really. If you have the genetic predisposition, you can lose weight, because what you do in terms of your exercise and your diet is what actually makes you overweight. Your body is very intelligent. It knows how much energy it requires in a day. Let's use numbers for example. If you need 1,500 calories a day and you take 1,520, that 20 will be stored because the body doesn't need it. So if you eat more than your body requires, the body is going to store that energy as fat, okay? Secondly, is also your portions can also be classified as the amount of fat you eat in your diet. If somebody has for lunch, this is a plate of chips. This is a soda. And then these 5 test tubes are going to give us, these 5 test tubes is what you get in a sausage, okay? So what happens is, if you eat this for lunch, this is about 2,500 calories. But in a day, let's say women will average between 1,800 calories maximum, and men will probably average up to 2,400 calories. So if you eat this for lunch, then of course you already have had excess calories. So what happens is, the portion of this food is not much. There's no way if somebody found you eating a plate of chips, a soda, and so they'll go like, oh my goodness. No, it's a small portion. It's a moderate portion, but the fat content is high. So that actually makes your weight, you get excess calories from just eating a small portion. Your portions can also be increased by your alcohol intake. You'll find that you eat when you're eating your food, you eat moderate portions, but then at the end of the day, you go take 5 to 10 beers. That will give you an average of 5 beers will just give you about 1,000 extra calories. If you're taking 10, you're getting 2,000 extra calories. The body is going to store that as fat, okay? So food can be a problem in terms of portions, as we explained. The other reason that your weight can go up is eating too little. A lot of people don't believe that, but if you eat less than your body requires, your body goes into a conservation mode, and then it actually stores energy. The common habit people have is eating nothing for breakfast and eating too much for dinner. So how does that affect your weight? On a normal day, you need more food in the morning and you need less food in the evening. So ideally, because you're going to sleep, you need less energy, okay? And because you're going to work, you need more energy. So what happens if you eat very little here and moderate there and a huge meal there? That's what most people do. So between the time you wake up and maybe lunchtime, the body conserves energy. It goes into a conservation because you took very little people are notorious for just taking tea and bread. You took very little and your body requires so much. So it's going to conserve energy. And for it to conserve energy, it is going to slow down your metabolic rate. Metabolic rate is the speed at which your body uses energy. It's the same way if you want to use less water, you have to open the tap pole pole. So if the body needs to conserve energy, it has to slow down the speed at which it is using energy. So how does this affect you? When lunchtime comes, your metabolic rate is low. So what happens? It means the body is going to use very little energy. So most of the things you eat here is going to be stored. Evening comes, your metabolic rate is still low. Then you eat your large portion. So what happens? First, your metabolic rate is low, so less energy will be used. Secondly, you're eating too much at the wrong time. The body is going to store. And you can find you ate a cup of tea for breakfast, 2 slices of bread, and then you ate something very small here, and then you ate a large portion here. And it doesn't have to be really huge. If you ate 1 slice here and ate 6 slices of bread here, it's going to be the same problem. And the problem is just here. Because you don't take breakfast, or you take very little, the body will conserve. So it's like telling the body, prepare for starvation, starvation is coming. So it prepares for starvation, but there is no day that you're in a starvation state so that the body can actually use that energy. So what happens is, for people who don't eat, skip meals the whole day. Skip meals the whole day, that's the easiest way of actually adding weight. And then eating one large meal, that's another reason that people are overweight. So, because you don't need it and you eat it. So it doesn't mean that everybody who's overweight actually eats a lot of food. No, not everybody. Because most of the time people think that, okay, she's overweight, she must eat a lot. No, you just need to eat 1 meal a day at night. It won't even be large. In fact, if you divide it into maybe 3 meals, it's not going to be enough for you. You'll feel hungry, okay? Another reason why people also may gain weight is because, of course, we talked about genetic makeup, but there are people who don't have genes, it's just their lifestyle. So if you don't exercise, then definitely your weight is likely to go up. Because it means if you eat any extra energy, it is stored. You're not exercising, so there is no extra utilization of energy. It's what the body requires for its function, and the rest is stored. So exercising is also very important. So if you don't exercise, you eat too much at the wrong time, you eat too little at the wrong time, and you eat large portions, you take a lot of alcohol, and you have a lot of fat in your diet, you fry your food all the time, then definitely that is going to affect your weight. But why is it okay to be overweight? Well, some people say, I like my weight, I'm fine. But actually, when you have a lot of weight, it can cause a lot of health problems. You can be diabetic. You know what diabetes can do if it is not controlled. You can get high blood pressure because of having excess weight. You can get heart condition. You can actually get your heart enlarged because of having a lot of weight. Imagine this is the size of your heart, okay? It's the size of your, just make a fist. That's the size of your heart. But then you have added about 2 kilos, just 2 kilos of fat. This is just 2.3 kilos of fat. So you've added that. You can see already your heart is overworked. So what if you add 10 kilos? That is like 5 of this. You're going definitely to overwork your heart, and you can get your heart enlarged. Other conditions that you can get, a lot of cancers are associated with obesity. Cervix cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer in women, okay? And the list of problems you can get is endless. Other things will be, you don't feel good about yourself. You get tired too fast. You have knee pain. You have back pain. You know, some people, because of if your weight increases and also your breast increases, that also will affect your back and your shoulders. So it can just be a host of problems. And of course, now feeling like, so some people, they can't actually do their normal work. It actually even affects your sexual function. Men and women, if your waist circumference is very high, it affects your function completely. For men, for example, if the weight is too much, the thighs grow, the stomach grow, actually their male organ can be swallowed up, Women, because of the fat, you actually become deep, so it creates many problems. So you can't do basic things, you can't cook, you can't walk a short distance. And something that's also very common with people who are overweight is you can't sleep, because when you go to bed, depending on how heavy you are, especially when you have a high waist circumference, what happens actually, the fat is actually pushed up, And that pushes your lungs and reduces the amount of oxygen that you get. So in the middle of the night, you have to wake up and breathe. And that's called sleep apnea. And you know, when that happens, you're not getting enough rest. You actually have a very high risk of getting a heart attack, you know. For people also who are overweight, they can also get high cholesterol. And what is high cholesterol? High cholesterol is fat droplets that circulate and clog your arteries, okay? And also you can produce certain chemicals, just the fat. This fat, it becomes an organ and it starts to produce so many chemicals. And what happens? You get your cholesterol is very high and you can get clogging of your arteries. For some women, they're not going to be able to conceive. They can also get miscarriages very easily. And I can tell you, if your weight is high, and some of the problems you have some of the problems that we have identified, then it is really, really important to take control and do something about your weight. And it is not very hard to lose your weight. We've already identified where the problem is. One problem is not exercising. Secondly, eating too much at the wrong time. Third, too little at the wrong time. Fourth, your portion sizes. For those who take alcohol, alcohol. And for those who take a lot of fat in their diet, a lot of fat in your diet. So if these are the problems, do we have a shortcut really? To manage your weight, first of all, you have to accept that, yes, I have a weight problem. It is causing me some health problem, and I now need to do something about it. Then stage 2 is you have to take your weight. The third stage is to set a goal. Most people actually set very unrealistic goals. Like you're 100 kilos and you say, I want to lose weight to become the weight I used to be before I got my children. You know, maybe you used to be 60 kilos and now you're 100 kilos. It's unrealistic to actually set a goal to go down to 60 kilos. But what scientists have found out is that if you lose just 5 to 10% of your current weight, that will actually relieve you of a lot of problems and also actually up to 50% reduce your risk of getting heart diseases. Most people also want to lose weight very quickly, and that's the problem that most people have, and that is why many people in the market have taken advantage of this. You know, remember your weight you didn't wake up one morning and the weight was there. It was built up slowly by slowly, you know. So you gained that 20 kilos or 10 kilos over a period of time. So to lose it, we know you have to change your lifestyle. But because people want to lose weight so fast, and there are people in the market who have all these solutions for quick weight loss, which do not work, you run there. First, people will do diets. You do your high protein diet, you're taking a lot of meat in your diet. The danger of this is you're going to get yourself a kidney problem, you're going to get yourself high cholesterol, and you're going to weaken your heart muscles, because when you eat only meat, you see there is not enough carbohydrate. So what happens? The body is not going to break fat, it actually breaks muscle for energy. It tries to break fat but breaks muscle. So you're not going to be successful. And yes, you will lose weight because of the hypermetabolic rate of your kidney, but you're going to gain that weight very quickly. Some people go and eat a fruit diet and you're just eating fruits. The problem with that is hyperacidity. And how long can you take a fruit diet anyway? How long? There are so many diets in the market. There are like 300,000 types of diets in the market. And people will come up with all sorts of diets. Cabbage soup, you know, an egg diet where you eat so many eggs, you know. Remember, how long can you do this? They're not sustainable. So what do you have to do to lose weight after you set your goal? First of all, we need to eat healthy. There is no two way about it. Why do we eat? Bodybuilding, energy, and protective. So you need to eat fruits, vegetables, starches, protein, fat. You need everything. So if you just decide you're going to eat fruits alone, you're leaving out so many other nutrients. You're not going to succeed because you can't eat fruits for the rest of your life. So you still have to eat healthy. You have to eat everything. Ideally, there is no food that is bad. The fact that when it is high in fat, it's not good. When it is high in salt, it is not good. When it is high in sugar, it is also not good. So as long as it is moderate in all these things, that food is not bad. You should have, your plate should look like this. Half of your plate should be vegetables, and then that's your starch, and that's your protein. So exercise. And what is exercise? Exercise actually is, it is described an activity that is rhythmic, continuous, and should last for 45 minutes and above. So rhythmic and continuous. So you're talking about jogging, running, walking as an exercise. Your heart rate must also go up. So it will involve panting and being breathless, yeah? And to exercise, it is important, if you've not exercised for a while, you need to start slowly. And you need to start by walking. And walking is the best exercise because you're able to do it for long. So start slowly, do 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Keep changing until you develop your capacity. Don't go and start doing 1 hour. Remember already the fact that your weight is high, and especially if your waist circumference is high, your lung capacity is very low. So you're going to get very tired very quickly. But that is just as a matter of time. You can train yourself. Anybody can become a marathon runner by training. But what exercise helps you lose weight actually? How long must it be? Yeah? Scientists have told us very well, because what happens is during exercise, your body uses different forms of energy. When you start, it uses glucose. Most of the time we'll start very fast, then we slow down, get a comfortable pace, continue, cool down, and stop. So at this point, your body uses glucose, which you quickly run out of. Then between here and here, the body uses what you call free fatty acids. These free fatty acids are molecules from food and fat, okay? So what happens, the body uses this for energy. And this is the most important part of exercise. The longer you sustain the exercise, the better for you. Remember, we haven't used any fat, okay? Because during exercise, the body requires energy for exercise. So it will first of all use glucose and then free fatty acids. Then when you stop exercising, the body has to replace the energy that has been used. So what the body does, it breaks down what you call glycogen. Glycogen are carbohydrate stores. When you eat your ugali, you eat your rice, your sweet potatoes, part of it is stored as glycogen. So this is usually stored on a daily basis and can be depleted. So the body will break down this to give you sugar. But it depends on how much time you exercise. For the body to use the next form of energy, it has to finish the glycogen completely. Is when it is going to use fat. So in short, for you to lose weight, to burn fat for energy, because it's the fat we need to lose. So for you to use fat as energy during exercise or after, this part here, where you're sustaining your activity, must last 45 minutes to 60 minutes plus, okay? The more you do, the better. But it's reasonable also to do time that you can manage, okay? So for you, that way, when you do 60 minutes, the body is going to break glycogen, finish, and then the body will use fat as energy. Ideally, you will use the fat way after you stop walking. So what happens is you need to walk, your exercise needs to last long for you to be able to use fat as energy. So if you go to the gym and you're doing 10 minutes and you stop, drink some water, say hi, then you go to another machine, do 10 minutes and you stop, you're not going to lose weight. You're just using glucose and glycogen. Glucose, glycogen. So at the end of it also, you feel very hungry. So one way of knowing that you've exercised properly, you'll feel thirsty because the body replaces the energy used. So the activity that helps you lose weight, it has to be continuous for 45 minutes to 1 hour. And actually since 2001, we've seen over 4,500 clients. And the people who walk lost the most weight, according to data that we have, because they're able to do 60 minutes. Most gyms, you can't do 60 minutes on the treadmill. And even if you get out, you can still get out, let's say treadmill, go to the bike, and go to another machine. But sometimes you have to wait, okay? So the minute you break. So otherwise, if you have to exercise 30 minutes only and stop, then you really have to work really, really hard. But how useful is sit-ups in weight loss or leg ups, okay? I can say sit-ups is one of the most dangerous exercises and the most useless exercise if your weight is high, okay? If your weight is small, it's okay. Because this is what happens, okay? You want to work out the muscle. Where is the muscle? It is way under the fat, okay? Because it is the muscle that we want to work out as we do the sit-ups. So if this is the fat and the muscle is here, so you are trying to work out the muscle, okay? You're trying to work out the muscle, doing sit-ups every day. Are you really working out the muscles? Not at all, okay? So this fat, if you lose weight and the fat reduces, okay, then it will be easier to actually work out the muscles. So people who have a lot of weight, especially their stomach, is also dangerous because when you lie flat on the ground, the fat moves, pushes your lungs, and reduces the oxygen. So you actually get breathless. If you're hypertensive, it's also dangerous because your blood pressure actually is going to go high, when you keep doing that movement with your leg. And then also, if you don't do it properly, you're always going to end up having a back pain or a neck pain, okay? And for people who have a back pain, it's a no-go. So ideally, most of my clients, I tell them, no sit-ups, just walk. And when you walk also, remember your muscles increases in density because your muscle is, let's say, if you've not exercised for long, the muscle always looks like this. It looks like this. And it feels very, very hard, okay? So what happens if you don't exercise for years, or even all these boxers stop exercising? It shrivels and shrivels, loses its density, and becomes very, very thin, like rubber like this, okay? So what happens is when you start exercising, now it starts to increase in density, okay? So also when you're trying to lose weight, depending on what your weight is, actually you should not lift weight. Because it's the same thing. You need to lift weight after you have lost your weight so that you increase your muscle, so that you increase your muscle density and then you tone up. But just by walking and running alone, you can still tone up. So you don't always have to lift weights. There are 3 types of people when it comes to weight loss. There is people who will exercise every day and not watch their intake, and they will lose weight. Then there's a group of people who will not exercise much. They will watch their portion size thoroughly. They will lose weight. Then there's the third group. They must exercise. They must eat to lose weight. Okay? So people are different. Some people lose weight very quickly. Some people lose weight very slowly. Some people need to work really, really hard to lose weight. So people are very different. But the problem here is if the person who does not exercise watches their intake and still loses weight will gain their weight back very quickly because you lose weight just within a very short time and then it stagnates. So if you don't introduce anything else, like exercise, it means you have to eat very, very, very small portions to keep losing weight. And then you cannot sustain those very, very small portions because you start feeling hungry. And so the weight comes right back. People who exercise regularly and don't watch their intake, those are people who are most they can easily maintain their weight because the exercise helps them to increase muscle mass, which helps them to utilize more energy. And the people who also exercise, they have to exercise and eat healthy to lose weight, those are the best because they adapt a healthy lifestyle. And so if they lose their weight, it takes longer, but they're going to also maintain it longer. So the best thing to do is eat healthy and exercise. Don't take a shortcut. Now, what else can you do to lose weight? You can also sometimes we prescribe medication. For example, people who have diabetes and high blood pressure and heart disease, and maybe high cholesterol and they're overweight, those are people who will benefit from adding a weight loss medication to help them. There are only 2 type of weight loss drugs that are actually approved for use as a prescription. These are the appetite suppressants, and then there are others which help you to change your lifestyle. The appetite suppressants must be on prescription only. You cannot walk to the pharmacy and get it because if you already have high blood pressure, the side effect is high blood pressure, so you're not supposed to take it. Then you can only take it for up to 4 months, and you have to be monitored closely. And we're talking about people who are really obese, BMI of 40s and above. And these are people who actually have emotional eating problem. These are the only people who will benefit from appetite suppressants. But also these people who have emotional eating problems, they can also be suffering from some depression. So the side effects of some of these appetite depressants will also give you depression. You can get depression. So it is very, very important to seek medical advice when you're taking medication. And then there's the other weight loss drug that is called Orlistat. The chemical is called Orlistat. So what Orlistat does, it helps you reduce the amount of fat you're absorbing. These are things that help you. It will also work for people who take a lot of fat in their diet. But remember, the drugs help you to lose weight. They do not make you lose weight. So your lifestyle is still number 1, okay? Because if we can just remind ourselves, why is your weight high? Either you eat too much at the wrong time, you eat too little at the wrong time, or generally all your portions are large, or there's a lot of fat in your diet, or there's a lot of sugar in your diet, or there's excess alcohol in your diet, okay? So identify what your problem is, work on the problem, and then follow the tips we've given you: eating healthy, exercising regularly, and getting help. Don't try to lose weight alone. Get help from a nutritionist. There are so many nutritionists in this country. Get a friend to help you walk, and get a walking team, and get a weight loss buddy. So we hope you've enjoyed this. If you need any information, please do send us an email, and we will get back to you. Thank you very much.